Welcome back to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I am your host, John Kovac Jr. Yesterday, or whether you're watching the live show or listening in through your podcast channels, you'll follow along that I was on the road. Yesterday, I was in Mesquite, Nevada, and today I am finally at my destination, which is the beautiful, sunny city of San Diego, California. And today I'm tuning into you from my mobile office. I've got my microphone, I've got my laptop. We're having a grand old time. And I am in California because we have a book signing this weekend at Barnes & Noble, which is amazing. Super excited to celebrate that and the 13 Steps to Riches book collaboration project and all that's going on. Again, I just want to say thank you to all of our listeners. If you're watching the live show, we really encourage you to ask questions, especially while you have the attention and also the brief connection with our guest speaker or our guest interviewee, I should say. I'm the interviewer. So I'm really excited to introduce our guest today. But before that, I just wanted to, again, pour into my audience and just say, you guys rock. Honestly, you've kept this podcast going. We're working up to our 100th episode here soon. We've got over 30,000 listener downloads worldwide, which has been a pretty phenomenal aspect since we started this podcast just in the basement of our house, just as more of a hobby and trying to learn the ways of marketing in a unique and different way. And now podcasting is huge. Obviously, it's been a big deal for a while, but I'm just so grateful. So always want to share gratitude and really want to be excited about just all the stuff that's going on in our world. Let me introduce you to our guest on the show today. This is Daniel Alfon, and Daniel is the author of Build a LinkedIn Profile for Business Success, which I love because Daniel doesn't know this, but I've got a story about that. And then Daniel joined LinkedIn in early 2004 and publishes articles, interviews, and exclusive content about advanced LinkedIn strategies to clients and subscribers to his website. You should go check out danielalfon.com. I'll put it in the chat section, the comments, as well as the show notes, which you'll be able to find. And I'm really excited to introduce Daniel because we're going to tell some stories. We're going to get to know him and his business. But Daniel, welcome to the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I'm really glad to have you here today.
My pleasure, John. Thanks for having me in the Circle of Knowledge.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask the same question I asked back in the green room, but where are you joining us from today?
South of Tel Aviv, Israel. Almost as sunny as San Diego.
Almost as sunny as San Diego. That's funny. San Diego's a little overcast today, so I bet you have more sun, but that's awesome. And have you lived there your whole life?
I moved from France to Israel, but most of my life is here, yes.
Wow.
It's great.
And you moved to Israel because of family, work, college? What brought you there?
First time I moved, I was 4. So it was my parents emigrated to Israel. And then I returned to France when I was 16. And after my master's degree, I decided I wanted to return to Israel. And ever since, I've lived here and enjoyed it. And thanks to technology, we can speak in Nevada, Salt Lake, or San Diego. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And I agree. Technology is amazing. How are we able to do this across the world? It's phenomenal. I don't even know what time it is in Israel. What time is it there?
5 p.m.
Okay, all right. I was hoping because you never know. Like when people join our podcast, it could be 2 a.m. for them. Who knows? But I'm really glad that it's not too late for you. Thank you. I'm really excited because you've got quite the understanding about LinkedIn and professional profiles and marketing. And this is a really exciting topic because while we have a lot of conversations on this podcast about personal development, professional development, I think that the idea of marketing and presentation as a whole is a really remarkable conversation too. And a lot of my listeners need to hold on to this information. So before we dive in and start talking about what we know about that, I want to just dive into a little bit about your story, where obviously you said you moved from France unbeknownst to your choices, your parents drug you across the borders, but you have an opportunity to grow up in a new country. You got your master's degree. Tell us a little bit about you, and I'm just going to hand the microphone over to you, but I want to know your story and why you are the way you are today. And if that is enough for a few minutes of a conversation. I know it's an open-ended question, but I would be glad to hear from your background.
Thank you. With pleasure, John. I think what made me what I am today is many individual elements. Early in 2004, I received an invitation from someone I trusted to something called LinkedIn. I had no idea what it was. And 2 years later, I was hired to become a VP of sales of a company selling into North America. And I was scared. I was scared because it was the first time I was carrying a quota. And the first 2 months were not that successful. And then LinkedIn showed me a name of a potential distributor I could reach out to. And after having that conversation, I landed my first sale. And before the year was out, I grew my sales to 140%, and I decided that I needed to dive into LinkedIn. It had to be not just something that helps me perform my job, but also the essence of my job, helping people leverage that platform. Since you went live, 1,000 people have joined LinkedIn. Every second, 2 people sign up. So let's try to make more out of this platform. And you had a story. I'm curious about it.
Yeah, and thank you. I really appreciate that. Your background, your story. I love that, and I know that my listeners too will really want to gather the information from this particular episode, because you're so right. I mean, marketing has the ability to reach people in a different way. And I think that that's just powerful. Somebody asked me the question actually yesterday in an interview. They said, John, if you could live for another 1,000,000 years, no questions asked, would you take it? Would you say yes or no? And I felt like most people would say no. They're like, you know what, I'm good. Like whatever 70 years average we are on this earth, I'm good. And my answer was yes, because I love the learning connection and the experience. And yeah, I'm sure whatever beliefs everyone has, it's probably a better place on the other side. But I definitely feel like there's so much to experience here, and it's a blessing to even just be here. My story is I went to college basically because I decided, you know what, instead of training for the Olympics in the decathlon, I'm going to go chase this entrepreneurial dream. And while in college, I had a family, I have a wife, and I needed to pay the bills. I needed to pay for tuition, and being a full-time student and a full-time worker is very difficult. So I needed to figure out how to entrepreneurially stay afloat in school. And one of the things that was just an incredible resource for me was something called the Career Center on campus, or on my school's campus. I could go to the Career Center and just get advice on how to write a resume, write a cover letter, how to get interviews. But one of the things that they taught was profiles on LinkedIn, how to professionally set up your profile on LinkedIn. And I would go to the class every Friday. I would take amazing notes, and I would go to my classmates who come on, guys. Like, my classmates never paid attention, and they didn't know what resources were on campus. They didn't know what was available to them. And I knew this, and I totally went to them and I said, look, I know you're trying to get a job. Why don't you pay me $100, and I will write your resume with you. I will help you write a cover letter. I'll help you submit the emails and pitch for a interview. And when you get the interview, that's when you pay me. And then I'll also spruce up your LinkedIn profiles. And I would literally just take these new clients or my peers in class, and I just take all their information. I'd go over to the Friday forum over at the Career Center. I'd do it for them. I would learn as much as I could. I'd go back to them. I say, here you go. And I'd get paid $100. And I hustled my classmates. And it was awesome because, I got to see and help a lot of my classmates get jobs, to be in the interview process, to really focus on their professionalism. But I also cash flowed my entire college experience. So I did not end up leaving school with any debt because I actively paid my bills, which was so cool. So that's my story about LinkedIn and the power of LinkedIn, because 9 out of 10 times, the people that I did this little service for were getting job interviews. And that was important to me because I knew that there was something coming from it. And I know that LinkedIn is a powerful tool. And probably at this point in the game, besides TikTok, LinkedIn is one of the most misunderstood platforms for professionals. And I think that this is an exciting conversation for me because I get to learn from Daniel and learn more about what it is that we can do to improve our LinkedIn profiles, our presence, our marketing, the way that we're found, and why we use it. And I'm really excited about it. So that was my story, Daniel. I saw you chuckle a few times, and I appreciate the reciprocation. It was a fun experience as a young man.
Even if you don't get to that million years, then you made something, and helping people find jobs is fulfilling. And listening at the Utah Valley University and then getting more from your education means that you don't necessarily need more. You just need to leverage what you have. And if we try to suggest a very simple framework for our listeners, say that they're in business for maybe 15, 20 years, they could maybe explore a mastermind, and maybe they read number 1, number 2, number 3, 4, or 5 of the 13 steps to riches. Then the questions I would ask is this. First question: who's your ideal reader, John? Your
Great
ideal
question.
reader. Cool. What is your answer?
I like this, and I'm sorry I interrupted you and jumped right on in, but this is fun. So, ideal reader, I would say the executives in business. I speak their language. I know them very well, and I know what their bottom line is. I know what they need. So I guess my ideal reader is that executive in business, someone who either owns their business, has been the CEO, FO of their business for several years, and also somebody who was elected to the higher corporation. That would be my ideal attraction.
Excellent. The next question I would ask is, what would you like those people to perform after they visited your profile? Say we could magically add to this call the executives that you would like to reach out to you. What action would you like them to perform?
Ooh, great question. This is great. I feel like I'm back at the Career Center. This is awesome. And I see that you are prepping a screen share. You're more than welcome to. Let me know when you need it, and I'll put it up on the screen. The idea here is, when somebody visits my profile, they would either want me to be their mastermind facilitator, or they would want to join my mastermind, where we attract the right people in the right conditions to help executives to achieve their goals and overcome their challenges, but also to be in a network of people who accelerate their successes through the various stories I tell. So the goal here is, they visit my profile and they say, let's contact John about a mastermind.
Excellent. So what you perform now is what I would suggest our audience here to perform. Just ask yourself, if you were to visit your own profile, are you providing your ideal reader with information that is likely to make them convert, to make them say, you know what? Yes, I understand. I see the word mastermind right up in your headline, and I see that you're a motivational speaker, and that enables me to scroll some more and to understand enough about you that would make me want to reach out to you. And unfortunately, many executives in business, their profiles cannot speak for itself. They would say, you know what, John, it says X and Y, but what I would like you to understand is A, B, and C. Don't do that. Just like your profile speaks for itself, it may take them an hour to do it, but revamp it and make it answer your ideal client's questions before they even reach out to you.
I love that. And I have a question for you, more of a follow-up question for clarification is it easy enough to imply or to interest or even to pique somebody's interest, or is it better to just call it out? Say, contact me for masterminds in your bio line.
That's a very good question. I think what I would suggest is that your about section could say, if you are XYZ, and by XYZ, you need to niche down about your ideal executive, then my mastermind is right for you. Because if someone is starting out in business, maybe their mastermind they're not ready for the mastermind yet. So you want to both push out or leave out people who are not qualified, and on the other hand, attract those very people you want.
Okay, cool. That brings up a whole nother conversation, and I love that. And when you say push out, you're not saying go and delete connections. You're just saying we need to start attracting the flow of that particular audience to your page and to attract them to take the necessary action once they're there.
You nailed it. Yes, I didn't refer to connections at all. I just referred to your profile visitors. What you could say is that you have 2 or 3 tiers. For the general public or even people starting out in business, they're welcome to check 13 Step to Riches, or check season 3, I think, of Speak Up, and that's open for basically everybody. If you are serious about your career and you've been in business enough and you have XYZ, then the mastermind may apply to you. We need to make it to make everyone get something, but you want to describe your prize in a way that's maybe the icing on the cake, if you like.
I love this, and Daniel, the way you speak is definitely the way of a coach. You're excellent in describing, and as a consultant, you're very, very good at identifying the key areas that would allow somebody to say, oh, it's all about framework. If I take a look at this one piece, let's focus in on it, because I think a lot of and I think you'll agree with me on this, is I think a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they're so engrossed in their business that they think big picture, but the little picture is hard to zone in on. They're not thinking, they're not asking the right questions. They're not really dialing in on these questions that you're asking, which are absolutely phenomenal. You can zero in on the important things of, does your profile speak for itself by doing what it is that you want your audience to do? Or is it just a general blanket statement that may be interesting to people, but not leading to the ideal clients? And then I love what you said too. They said, if I'm attracting the right people, I need people to recognize that if you're serious about accelerating your growth, or if you're serious about doing something more with your business, then you will want to join my mastermind. That's brilliant. In the context of, let's say, because I'm a motivational speaker, but in the context of maybe somebody who owns their own marketing agency, right? That they could say, if you're serious about growing your daily leads that convert to clientele, you want to enroll in my program or my coaching course or whatever. And that makes sense. And I love that you put it in that framework. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. I'd like to go back to something you said earlier about LinkedIn being one of the most misunderstood platforms. And actually, everything we discussed is not LinkedIn specific. It's general business. You don't have to understand the black box behind LinkedIn. You need to understand that people who are visiting your profile may not be proficient in LinkedIn more than other people, but you need to convert them. So thinking about the way to do it, if you know your business well enough, you don't need to understand LinkedIn that much, because there are all sorts of LinkedIn metrics. The number of connections you have, the number of views, your page followers, everything. But what's important are the business metrics, the revenues, the meetings, the orders, the download, the subscribers, the demos, the inquiries. And LinkedIn needs to help you support those metrics, those real life metrics.
That's I love that. And something I also want to point out is, Daniel, I didn't ask this before, but given your background, born in France, moved to Israel, master's degree, all of that background, you probably know multiple languages. You probably know several languages or grew up with languages, or is it just English?
No, my mother tongue is actually French, and I think Hebrew is probably my mother tongue too. And I love Italian, but let's say three:
Three. Okay.
English, French, and Hebrew.
Wow. And that's fantastic. And given that you are so eloquent in how you speak about this intelligently, and you brought up the word proficiency, because I think that's a great word for describing, the let's call it the action steps that people take in applying their knowledge or applying their marketing attraction with their profiles. You don't necessarily need to be an absolute expert on LinkedIn, Twitter, or any one of the platforms. And you use the word proficiency, which I love, because you need to be proficient in attracting your client. And that's the part of business people don't understand. It's if I own a bakery, and my clientele buys bread, I probably want to use the metrics that convert to buyers, to active clients, the kinds of people who will buy my bread every single day. And what I need to understand is I need to be proficient in why these people buy bread. Is it because they have a lack of bread, or is it because they crave for bread, right? And so I'm obviously going on tangents here, but I'm just coming up with ideas in my brain to help explain to my audience that this is probably something that we should all consider. And if anything, I would highly recommend you becoming proficient in your profiles, that they convert, they attract, they do the exact thing that you want to do, which is exactly what Daniel was discussing here. So I think it's a great example, but very, very interesting.
Thank you. And just piggyback on this, if our readers here could simply visit 20 or 50 profiles, that will help them revamp their own profiles. Because what will happen, John, when they visit people's profile, they will like some elements, they will maybe feel other elements are less genuine or less authentic, and that enables us to go back and get inspired, but build our own thing. You can read as many as you like. At the end of the day, it's yours, and you need to make it aligned with your personality. Let me ask you, you mentioned framework. I'll add 3 more questions. Are you happy with the way your own profile looks? Are you happy with the language you're using? Are you happy with the terms? Is this you? If that's you, then you move to the second stage, and that's your network. People who know you well, when they visit John Cava Jr.'s profile on LinkedIn, will they be taken aback? Will they say, hey, yes, that's the guy. That's the way he speaks. These are the terms he uses in our conversation. And the last, third, and most challenging question, are those executives in business who could think about a mastermind and who have never heard of you, when they visit your profile for 5 seconds, will they feel compelled to reach out to you? So first you, then your entourage, your network, and lastly, people you want to attract.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I love that. Let's transition to just another quick topic and moving more into the knowledge, the golden nuggets of knowledge you'd like to share with my audience. What I know that you mentioned this before, but what are some of those myths that people how do I ask this question? What are some of those myths versus realities, and maybe people need to focus on for acquiring the right metrics, whether it's profile versus your page, your quality versus quantity, your website versus CV, the time versus premium content. What are some of those, and the myths that people probably misunderstand in regards to LinkedIn?
Wow, you've said it all. So let me try and dive a bit into some of them. Some SMBs or some experienced business owners still think that their company page, John, is the most important element on LinkedIn. But you and I know that their individual profile is far, far more important. If you only employ 200 people, your profile is more important. If you employ tens of thousands of people, then your page becomes important. But your day-to-day marketing will happen through your own profile. Company pages on LinkedIn are static. And even if I followed your company page, you would get no information from me. Whereas if I sent you an invitation request and you accepted, you would have access to my email address and we could communicate outside of LinkedIn. And the greatest secret is when to leave LinkedIn. LinkedIn gave us the information, but now we could go elsewhere. We could go in real life. We could have a discussion over Zoom or visiting Salt Lake City or San Diego. Another quick idea is that our profile had better look like a website than a CV. If you're in business and you're not looking for new opportunities, or you don't want to change jobs, then instead of just saying I was working for the Student Association or XYZ, say how you can help your audience. And think about your own profile as a website that needs to convert your ideal reader into someone who would reach out to you. So try to help them, like you do on your own profile, understand what is it that you do, what you bring to the table, and what their next logical step should be. Visiting your website, downloading a brochure, going to Amazon and pick number 5, or do whatever you want to do in order to qualify it for the mastermind or get in touch with you. These are just 3 out of many others we could discuss.
I want to say something that one of my listeners is saying, and I want to say hello to Karen Hargreaves. She says, "Love this guy! Like, this is such useful information." And thank you, Karen. That was very kind. I love this. This is so helpful. What an amazing set of information, because I totally agree, and I think that these are no-brainers in business. You need to be asking these kinds of questions, the right kinds of questions. One question I have, and I'm putting you on the spot, but I don't know if you know the answer to this. You probably do, but in regards to LinkedIn, everyone probably treats LinkedIn in 2 ways. This is based on experience. First, people treat it as a place to connect with as many people as they can so that they can get into their direct messages and send them an advertisement or something. The second way people use LinkedIn is just like Facebook, where they just post like it's Twitter, but very, very little, very, very little purpose behind the posts or calls to action. But my question for you, and sorry about the roundabout question, my question for you is there more power in a post, or is there more power in publishing an article on LinkedIn? And I think that people don't know the difference. An article, you literally type in stuff, you can add video, you can add photos and stuff like that. and it's another way to get your information out there. Or you can simply just press the post button, which is just like any other social media. So there's a difference. But in your professional opinion, which one has more power in the process of LinkedIn?
Cool. I love the question, and thank you, Karen, for what you wrote. I think the best way to look at it is that when you post, it tends to be things that are more time sensitive or more ephemeral, if you like. But articles could be a description of trends or evergreen content. Okay, before joining your mastermind, here are the 3 questions you need to ask yourself. This could be published in April 2022, and this could be read, in January 2025, and maybe 90% of it will still hold, no matter what happens. Whereas if you say, next week I've got a webinar, or number 6 is on sale, then that would not be appropriate on an article, because it doesn't work that way. So use article to grow your thought leadership. And another advantage articles have is that whenever you and I share something on LinkedIn, like an external link, then LinkedIn doesn't want people to leave the platform. So it will throttle it. It will limit the number of people who actually see it, even if you have a very large network. Whereas if you share an article on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn algorithm understands that you're still keeping people on LinkedIn, and the percentage of people who are going to see it is probably much higher. But to answer your question, whether a post or article is more important, I think your network is even more important than both. Remember when you returned from the Philippines and you wanted to become the world's greatest athlete? You needed to network back to your high school, and you needed to exercise, and you needed to network with those people. So your the relationship you have and the way you reflect them on LinkedIn is probably the single most important thing you need to think of, because your career may change 10 times. You may go to a different business. You may leave Utah and move elsewhere, but your network is the long-term investment in your career.
Wow. That, to me, Daniel, that's the mic drop on this. That was an amazing soundbite. Thank you for what you shared. And you guys, I'm so impressed with Daniel. He has gone above and beyond and done his research. He's actually read part of the chapters of my books. He's done such a great job prior to us coming on this podcast episode, and I'm just thoroughly impressed. Somebody who does their research, somebody who prepares, ready to rock and roll in an interview. That's someone you can trust. 2, it's someone you can definitely connect with and build relationships with, and probably even work with, because this is the kinds of people who care. And that's a huge aspect for me. And I know that that's a big deal for a lot of my listeners too, because they want to work with people who they like, deal with, and trust. And in the words of Miss Karen here, when you love somebody, when you love this guy, and you love people that we listen to, or the people that come onto our show, it makes it easier for us to work with and be in business. So I obviously put it down in the ticker, but you guys, if you want to get a hold or learn more from Daniel, you should definitely go to his website, danielalfon.com. Now, I believe Daniel provided a free gift that he wanted to share with everyone. So you can go to danielalfon.com/free gift, I believe. I need to make sure I said that right.
Freebie,
that was it. #freebie. I'll put it in the comment section right now. Thank you for that. I do so many of these interviews. Sometimes the websites get convoluted. All right. Grab your free gift. I love this part of the show because everyone listening is like, what is he doing? I'm typing. Grab your free gift here. And then those of you who listen to the show on whatever podcast platform you listen to, it will be in the show notes. So go ahead and grab that. What is exactly is your freebie, if you would describe it?
With pleasure. Thank you very much, John. The element on our profile that's most important is our headline. And the freebie or the giveaway is a simple cheat sheet with examples, formula before and after that will make everyone's headline shine almost as yours shine.
I love that. Downloadable opportunity to learn more about having your headline on LinkedIn shine. I love that. I think that many people, especially if you're one of those people who just adds me, then sends me a message. I go just like Daniel here. I will go to your page and I will look at you. I will research you. I will figure out who you are and if we need to be a connection or friend before I accept. And so that's a really valuable resource. And thank you for sharing that, by the way. I know that will be very, very helpful to many, many people. Given that this show is all about knowledge and taking action, and I want people to get to know you. I want people to go to you because I don't go to the Career Center anymore on campus and help people with their LinkedIn profiles. I would rather send them to Daniel. I'd rather say, go and connect with Daniel. He will help you with your profile, that proficiency, which, by the way, I love that word. That is such a profound word for the context and communication that we're talking about here. And I would love for people to go and learn more from you. So go to danielalfon.com. And if you want to grab that download and start applying some tips and tricks on how to improve your profile, go to danielalfon.com/freebie, and you will get some opportunities there to learn more. Daniel, any last words or any parting things you'd like to share with my audience?
I just wanted to say thanks. And I wanted to ask, when is the book signing on Barnes & Noble?
Great question. Daniel, you're so perceptive. I love it. Here in San Diego, we got 2 book signings starting tomorrow. So tomorrow is March 19th. I think it's tomorrow already where you're at, or maybe it's not. No, you're probably 5:45 p.m. on March 18th still.
Yes.
Okay, cool. It's my clients in Australia who are a day ahead. So that's right. The Barnes & Noble is located in Oceanside, California. And Oceanside's a little bit of the northern part of San Diego, greater San Diego area. We will be there from 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And then, there's a little bit of a break between that and then the next location. We'll be heading back down into the mall district of San Diego to a place called Mira Mesa. And Mira Mesa will be there from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. And we've brought in a celebrity guest author to be there at the signing with us as well. His name is Alec Stern. He's the co-founder of a company that sold for billions of dollars called Constant Contact. He is an amazing human being. And also, we'll have about 10 or 11 of our authors from the book series will be there as well, present, signing books live and doing all the fun stuff. It's great to come get your picture, to have a really, really fun environment where you get to meet celebrities and also co-authors of the best-selling book series of the 13 Steps to Riches. So Daniel, thank you for asking that, and that was very kind and perceptive. But Daniel, thank you so much for everything and this conversation. And I really do want my listeners to go and find your website, to contact you. And guys, by the way, a great way to reach Daniel is probably through LinkedIn. If you can send him a message or chat with him, you'll probably connect there.
Yeah, just say I was on. I listened to the Circle of Knowledge with John Covett Jr. and I have a question that will bring you to the top of my list.
Sure. That's awesome. Thank you very much for your time today. And as we finish up every show, I want to remind my audience that you have everything you need within you now. And because of that, that means you have the ability, the capability, the strength, the talents, all of the things that you need to take action and to use this knowledge for the betterment of your life. And with that being said, Daniel, thank you so much for your time today. This has been an excellent episode of the Circle of Knowledge podcast. I know there's so much more to the LinkedIn platform, and also that, while we touch the surface, we also get deep enough to help those who need it the most. And thank you very much.
John, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Thanks.
Awesome. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.